What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into another episode of the Philly Faithful podcast for today, Saturday, October the 5th. Red October begins today. My name is Troy. I am your host. You can follow me on socials at Troy B Baseball. You can follow the show on socials at Philly Faith Pod, spelled just like the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe so you can be notified when more episodes just like this one drop. And if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, make sure you give us that 5-star rating so this show can get out to more Phillies fans just like you. And we are going to jump right on into it today. First thing we're going to talk about is Rob Thompson announced that Christopher Sanchez will be the Game 2 starter for the National League Division Series. Really not much of a surprise because with him starting Game 2 instead of Game 3, he'll be starting at Citizens Bank Park, where he has pitched much better this season than he has on the road. And that is strictly what the decision was based off of. In 17 home starts and 110 innings this season, Sanchez has a 2.21 ERA with 99 strikeouts and a 0.973 whip. He has been just outstanding at home. And if he would have been able to do that on the road as well, he would be the National League Cy Young winner hands down. But in 14 road starts, he's only pitched 71 and 2/3 innings for a 5.02 ERA, 54 strikeouts, and a 1.661 whip. So that is just a drastic difference in his home and road split, which is insane because usually, especially with Citizens Bank Park, the splits are different than that. It's crazy how good he has been at Citizens Bank Park. I'm obviously not complaining, as the Phillies will definitely take that 100%, and he is clearly the best option to start Game 2 instead of Game 3 because, again, he'll be starting at Citizens Bank Park for Game 2, which will be tomorrow. But we're not here to talk about tomorrow just yet because first, we got to get through today. Today is Game 1 of the National League Division Series against the New York Mets. The Philadelphia Phillies are back in the playoffs, the third consecutive season in the playoffs, the first National League East Division title since 2011. This is the Philadelphia Phillies year. And first, they got to get through Mets Game 1 starter announced yesterday, Kodai Senga. This was very surprising. If you listen to the National Pod first pitch that I was on with Lindsey Crosby yesterday, you heard that the Mets were thinking about putting Kodai Senga on their NLDS roster. Nobody thought that he would be starting because of the just lack of time on the mound this season because he's been out with injuries. He had one start this year, 5 1/3 innings, 9 strikeouts, a 0.56 whip, and a 3.38 ERA. He did really well in his one start. It came against the Braves, but in that one start, which he made on July 26th, he made that coming off of the injured list. That was his first start of the season, and in that start, he got hurt again. His first injured list stint this year was a right shoulder capsule strain. He went on the injured list at the end of March, and then his first start came on July 26th, his first start in the majors. And in that start, he left with a left calf strain. So he has not had a good year on the injury front, to say the least. And again, in that one start he made against the Braves, he did pitch really well. But it was a very, very, very small sample size against only one team. So you really can't go off of that for how he will do in today's game. And if you remember the last time a team rushed a pitcher back to make a start against the Philadelphia Phillies in the playoffs, it did not work very well. That was a different team and that was a different pitcher. Could be the same outcome today. Because the Atlanta Braves tried to rush Spencer Strider back, and it didn't work very well for them. So we'll see how it works for the New York Mets today. The Phillies did face Kodai Senga twice two different games in 2023. He went 12 and a third innings, pitched to a 1.46 ERA, 15 strikeouts, 0.73 whip, held the Phillies to a triple slash of 140, 192, 163 for a 354 OPS in 47 plate appearances. So he did very well against the Phillies last season. Again, we'll have to wait and see how he can do this season and in this postseason against the Phillies. But as far as individual batter statistics go, the lineup that I think the Phillies will go with today, it's pretty much the lineup that they have used for the majority of the season. Especially against right-handed pitchers. So I don't expect that to change today. Batting first would be designated hitter Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber has gone 0 for 6 against Senga in his career with 4 strikeouts, no walks, no hit by pitches. So zeros across the board for his triple slash. Second would be shortstop Trey Turner. He went 0 for 5 against Senga. I put a typo in my notes. I put 5 for 5, but he went 0 for 5 against Senga, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, a 0 batting average, 167 on base percentage, a 0 slug in his limited tenure against Senga. Third for the Phillies should be Bryce Harper playing first base. He only faced Senga once last year, 1 for 2, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 500, 667, 500, triple slash for Harper. Harper's a good hitter. He's going to hit good against most pitchers, especially right-handed pitchers. Batting cleanup, third base, Alec Bohm, 1 for 5, 1 strikeout, no walks, 200, 200, 200, triple slash. Nothing special there. The only thing I would say is that Alec Bohm is a completely different hitter this year than he was last year, and that could very well play up for him. And I'm excited to see Alec Bohm against Kodai Senga in today's game. Right field, Nick Castellanos, 1 for 6, 2 strikeouts, no walks, 167s across the board. Hopefully, the Phillies get the Nick Castellanos that they got in the playoffs last season. He is one of the best hitters in the playoffs, and especially in the National League Division Series, and he showed that last year. Hopefully, for the Phillies' sake, that he can do that again. Second base, Bryson Stott, 1 for 5, 1 strikeout, no walks, 200, 167, 200, triple slash for Stott. Stott, I don't know. He doesn't strike out much. He does have the 1 strikeout against Senga, but he does not strike out much, and he does not whiff much, and that is a big part of Senga's game. So we'll have to see how that works out for Stott and Senga in today's matchup. Catching, JT Realmuto, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 0 batting average, 200 on base percentage, 0 slug for JT. He's going to be starting. As long as he's not hurt, he's going to be starting in every game of the playoffs for the Phillies. So get used to him in the lineup, and he's a good piece to have in the lineup. He is still the best catcher in baseball as far as an all-around game goes for a catcher. He is far and away still the best catcher in baseball. Left field, Brandon Marsh, not Austin Hayes. Brandon Marsh went 1 for 4 against Senga, 1 strikeout, no walks, 250, 250, 500, triple slash. This is where it could go a different way than the way I have it. Again, Rob Thompson has tried to force the issue and force Austin Hayes into an everyday role, which Austin Hayes is not equipped to do. Austin Hayes should not be starting against right-handed pitchers. Austin Hayes should only be starting against left-handed pitching and be used as a pinch hitter against lefty relievers in a situation where he's going to get a limited amount of time on defense. Because he is not a good fielder, he cannot hit against right-handed pitching. He can only hit against left-handed pitching. Brandon Marsh should be starting in left field against right-handed pitching. Hands down, no questions. This is the statistics are there. They are available for everyone, any and everyone's perusal. Rob Thompson has access to these statistics. The Philadelphia Phillies have access to these statistics. It is absolutely asinine to me that Austin Hayes has been forced into an everyday role when he cannot hit against right-handed pitching. Make it make sense, people. Center field, that means Johan Rojas. He is the best defensive option on the Phillies, period. He is one of the best defenders in baseball, period. And he plays at a premium defensive position in center field, period. He has not faced Kodai Senga, so he has no stats against Kodai Senga. He has no experience seeing Kodai Senga's pitches. So there's nothing to speak of there, but it doesn't matter because he bats ninth in the lineup. That is not an important position to bat in the lineup. He gets the least amount of plate appearances, so the least amount of damage can be done against the opposing team or against his own team, should he not be good. But he makes up for it in the field with his glove every single time that he is in the field. Johan Rojas should be starting in center field against lefties and righties. Doesn't matter. We talked about Zack Wheeler, how he's done against the Mets this season as a whole, and now we're going to jump into what I think the Mets lineup will be today, the lineup that they used against a right-handed pitcher on Thursday against the Brewers. I pulled that lineup over to today, and this is how those batters have fared against Wheeler in their career. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor, 8 for 29, 3 extra base hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks, a 276, 290, 483 triple slash. This is something that you're going to see a lot of throughout this lineup. A lot of the batters have hit pretty well against Wheeler throughout their career, but playoff Wheeler is a different animal. 2024 Wheeler is a different animal. 2024 playoff Wheeler will probably be a different animal. So take these for what they're worth. They haven't faced Wheeler in the postseason yet. And in the postseason, he is one of the best pitchers ever in the sport. Period. Ever. Third base, Mark Vientos, 2 for 6, 1 extra base hit, 1 strikeout, no walks, 333, 333, 500 triple slash. Left fielder, Brandon Nimmo, 13 for 44, 6 extra base hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 295, 311, 545 triple slash. Brandon Nimmo has hit really well. He's probably been their best hitter with the most amount of plate appearances. So expect a good battle between those two. Pete Alonso, first base, 10 for 34, 2 extra base hits, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, 294, 385, 353 triple slash. It's crazy to see him have a higher on base percentage than slugging percentage, but Zack Wheeler does limit extra base hits pretty well, and he has done so against Pete Alonso throughout their matchups in their careers. Second base, Jose Iglesias, the international pop star, 5 for 12, 1 extra base hit, 2 strikeouts, no walks, 417, 417, 500 triple slash. And I think a lot of that came this season, and a lot of his success against Wheeler came this season. So we'll see how that goes today. Jesse Winker DHing, 0 for 10, no strikeouts, 2 walks, a 0 batting average, 167 on base percentage, 0 slug for Mr. Winker, who has quickly become the most hated man in Philadelphia for this series. So that'll be fun to hear how loud the boos are whenever he takes his first plate appearance today. Right field, Starling Marte, 7 for 23, 2 extra base hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 304, 385, 435 triple slash. He's fared well against Wheeler, and we'll see if he can keep that up today. Center field, Tyrone Taylor, 2 for 6, 1 strikeout, no walks, 333s across the board for Tyrone Taylor. He's a glove first center fielder, much like Johan Rojas, so don't expect much from him. He also has a really good arm, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Phillies will test his arm on the base paths today and throughout the National League Division Series. And then catching, Francisco Alvarez, 0 for 2, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, no batting average, 333 on base percentage, no slug. And that is how the Mets batters have fared against Zack Wheeler in their careers. They've fared pretty well against him. I said that earlier, and it is true. They have fared pretty well against him in their careers. But again, Zack Wheeler in the playoffs is a completely different animal than Zack Wheeler in the regular season. Zack Wheeler in this regular season is a completely different animal than the Zack Wheeler that they faced throughout their careers, because Zack Wheeler just took his game to another level this season. It is, I fully expect the Phillies to win this game. I have no clue what to expect from Kodai Senga since he pitched 1 game this year and he's coming off of injury. I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was from. Pretty prominent Philadelphia Phillies tweeter, but they said that he's either going to go 5 shutout innings or he's going to get shelled and not finish the second inning. There's no middle ground, and that is 100% the case. He's either going to get shelled early and driven out of the game early, or he's going to pitch 5 shutout innings. There really is no middle ground. we don't know what to expect from Kodai Senga, and it's an interesting choice for the Mets to start game one of this game when they have Tyler Megill available, who did pretty well against the Phillies last week. Or 2 weeks, it was last week or 2 weeks ago. He did pretty well against the Phillies, and he did pretty well against the Phillies as a whole this season. So it's an interesting matchup here. Zack Wheeler versus Kodai Senga. Game one, National League Division Series is today, 4:08 p.m. Eastern on Big Fox. Cannot wait. Red October starts today, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of the most wonderful times of the year. Playoff baseball back in Philadelphia, back at the bank. Get loud, get rowdy, make all of the noise you can. I don't want a single one of y'all that are going to that game to have a voice when you wake up tomorrow, because this is the most important game of this postseason. Thank you for joining us today. I've been Troy, your host on the Philadelphia Faithful podcast, your one-stop shop for daily news, updates, and opinions on your Philadelphia Phillies. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when more episodes just like this one go live. If you're listening on a podcast platform like Spotify or iTunes, make sure you give us that 5-star rating. It helps us out tremendously and helps push the show out to more Philadelphia Phillies fans just like you. We'll be back post-game with an instant post-game reaction episode, so make sure you be on the lookout for that. And until then, peace, love, rock and roll, go Phillies. I'm out. Bye.